Hello guys and welcome back to Tech Creations. Today is going to be a slightly different one because Cole has no internet at the moment. He's getting fibre optics installed, should be back either next week or the week after, but it means it's just going to be me today. So I've taken this chance to do something a little bit different and I'm going to show off my pin lock system. So here you can see I'm putting in my code, which is 3789. If you look at it like a numpad, then I hit enter, and if we wait a couple of seconds, there we go, the door opens. If we go through, we can hit the close button, and it closes again. Now this is not something completely new. There's my door mechanism. This is something that's been around for a long time. Loads of people will have done much better tutorials on how to build the optimum smallest way to do this. But what I always find with those redstone tutorials is they tell you put a repeater here and a torch here and it'll work, but they never explain why it works, which I don't really like. So I set myself the task of building one of these without any tutorials so that I could understand perfectly how it works. And today I'm going to try and explain how it works so that you guys can understand if you want to build it yourself. Now this is probably going to put off a lot of people, but this is the amount of redstone it took for me to get it to work. And that's why I said I'm sure there are a lot better tutorials that do it in a lot less redstone. But a lot of this is just traveling the redstone to get it to the right place to link up with other bits. So don't get put off, it's not all extremely technical stuff. So the first thing was I needed each button to give off its own individual signal and not interfere with each other. So I did this by putting redstone torches on the back of each block, and they all feed off into different circuits. The middle horizontal row feed off into these repeaters. One goes straight and the outside ones go in torches. Same on the other side there. Then the top and the very bottom middle all send their signal up a layer or down a layer on the bottom, and then it runs out. And then on the sides, on the top and bottom, they come out to the side before going off. So that gets a signal from each different one to go. And each different number goes along, so I'm looking at it like a numpad. So this one is number 1. And if we look, its signal comes out to the side and along here to the first of 9 identical circuits, which are a T flip-flop circuit. This is probably the most kind of advanced-y, Minecraft-y redstone thing here, but it is very simple to build. I'm sure there are tutorials on it, but it is basically a redstone torch with a block and 2 normal pistons. On top of that is 2 blocks of redstone and torches. Now the way this works is I've put an inverter here to turn the signal back to nothing. So when you press the button, the torch over there turns off for a pulse. This will pulse off, which will pulse this on. And the pulse on a T flip-flop will switch these pistons around so the block will move to here, which will allow the torch to power this. And it'll be constantly on. So it basically converts the pulse of a button to almost like a lever, a constant on or off. So this will do 2 things when it has been toggled on by pressing a button. First of all, it'll push out this piston. That'll come into importance later on. Second of all, it will come over to this repeater thing up here. Now this is actually built underground for me. If I go down this hole, you'll see that. Simply because I didn't plan it out very well. But what it is here is 5 pistons, one of which is always up and the rest are always down, unless you come round the back and pull one of these levers. This is where you pick what pin you want. So in my case, it's back to front here, so here's number 7, here's number 3, here's number 9, and here's number 8. So I've chosen 3789 as my pin. And when you put one of these levers up, it will turn on a signal, and that's pretty much what all this redstone is transferring the signal from the right lever to the right piston. So for the case of my first code, is the number 3. So the redstone will come down here and it will do 2 things. It will first go into this repeater and put up this piston, and also for all of these like lines, when you put a signal down it, it will also come round here, turn off this torch and bring down the other piston. So if we look at this one as an example, it has not, number 1, this is number 1, has not been selected in my pin, so none of these other pistons are up, and this is the overkill lock one that is up. That means if this has been turned on and it's the wrong number to hit because it's not been selected, it will allow the redstone to pass through here, and it will follow this line. This links into every single number, so if you press any number that's wrong, it will power up this line, which will then go around, and at my very final circuit over here, it will push out this repeater, this piston even, meaning that the power will not transfer through and it will kill the circuit and not allow it to pass through. So if we now take a look at number 3, which is over here, it is part of my correct circuit, which means there is a signal going in the back there that puts up this piston, down this one. So this is my example of the correct number. When this is toggled on, you will have this come down, so it won't overkill the circuit. Instead, the signal will come through here, and it will travel across one of these other lines. All of those are just different lines for the 4 different numbers, and they all come round here into these other pistons. So when the right button is pressed, it will push forward one of these, which will complete the circuit, allowing the redstone to come through. So if you hit the 4 correct buttons and no others, you'll have the 4 pistons extended and the overkill will not be turned on. And if you do that and then press the enter button, it will send a pulse off all the way along here, which comes to a redstone torch ladder, which will then turn this as a pulse on. If all the right ones are connected, it will come straight through here and onto another T flip-flop. The pulse will cause it to switch to permanently on, which will then run down here and open our piston door. However, a second thing does happen when you press that enter button. It goes through this long string of repeaters or on delays that basically allow the whole thing to go and try and get through before it does anything. So after this repeater has run through, it will come and it will pulse across here, and this will go down every single number. And if this repeater is out, and remember that only happens if you've pressed the corresponding button, it will put a pulse through, change the flip-flop, and turn it off. So this is basically our reset mechanism. So every time you press enter after attempting to open the door, it will reset all the numbers to as if the button hadn't been pressed, allowing you to not have to do any manual resets. And that is basically how this system works. So it's definitely, I'm pretty sure, a better way to build this and make it a much smaller circuit. I hope this has kind of explained the theory behind how it works, because that's something I wish was done in more redstone tutorials, the ones at least that I always end up finding. Just sort of say, if you put this here, 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 it works, but doesn't really tell you the logic behind why. So I hope this has kind of made sense. It's a very advanced bit of redstone, so I'm sorry if I haven't done it justice and haven't explained it well. If you leave any comments, I'll try and do my best to explain how it works. The system here is just a general door. When it is toggled on, then the pistons will extend in and then be pulled out, and vice versa. The button in here, it just leads all the way back to the flip-flop over there. There's like an override that you don't need a pin for, that will then just close the circuit behind you. So yes, any comments? I'll try and explain my best. I hope I've been able to make kind of a bit of an interesting, different video for this one-off where Core isn't here, where I'm just sort of not showing off something I've invented, but instead trying to explain something that someone else has. Leave a like if you want me to continue this series. Back when Cole's back, we'll be getting back into our proper creations that we made ourselves. And the only way that we can know that you want to see more of that is if you hit that like button. So I'll be looking out for that. And thank you guys for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.